Hi there. As you probably already know, Patreon have restructured their fee system, and there's been an uproar amongst the community. Let's start by looking at the diagram included in the Patreon blog post. It's incredibly deceptive, and it's part of the smokescreen that Patreon have set up, and virtually everyone seems to be falling hook, line, and sinker for. Firstly, the way that the orange and blue parts of the bar are smaller in the after picture is a complete lie, as I'll explain later. But one of the most common complaints I've seen is that a $1 donation will now cost $1.38. This is a ridiculous thing to say, because if you have $1.38 leaving your bank account, then that's a $1.38 donation. Calling it a $1 donation is playing into Patreon's hands, because they can say that they give 95% of the $1 donation to the creator. All that really matters is the percentage difference between the money leaving the patron's wallet and the money reaching the creator. Labeling the cut that is taken away as being paid by the patron or paid by the creator is totally meaningless, and again plays into Patreon's deceptive marketing surrounding this change. The patrons have always 100% funded this whole scheme. The patrons have always funded everything. Here is what the chart should actually look like. We see that for a given amount of money leaving the patron's wallet, less money goes to the creator, and the patron winds up probably at a lower rewards tier because they had to reduce their pledge in order to keep the amount of money leaving their bank account constant. Patreon are probably telling the truth when they say that they won't make more money, so where's this missing money going? The answer is payment processing companies. Patreon supports 3 different payment types: per event, which is a payment per video posted; monthly, which is pretty self-explanatory; and monthly with a charge up front, which is a one-off payment when you first become a patron, plus monthly charges thereafter. All the payments for a month were combined together into a single payment. With the charge up front model, people were surprised when they became a patron towards the end of the month. They'd get charged the upfront charge plus the monthly charge within a few days, which is indeed a pretty bad system. Now, I would have thought the solution to this problem was prorating the monthly figure. In other words, if you become a patron halfway through the month, you get charged half the monthly fee at the end of the month. Instead, Patreon have very clearly thrown the baby out with the bathwater and decided to bill every event as it happens. This means that the patrons' credit card bills will be spammed with possibly dozens of items every month, and all the fixed fees on all those tiny transactions mean that far more money goes to the payment processing companies. And I'm not making this up. Patreon are very transparent about this if you actually read their post. That's a lot of fees for creators to pay. We had 3 options: have creators deal with a huge increase in fees, etc., etc. Again, the first and third options here are actually exactly the same. Patrons are paying these fees unnecessarily introduced by Patreon either way, but they're presented as different options. This is ridiculous. Patreon are basically saying that they made a decision which massively increased inefficiency in fees, and they're explaining who they decided to stick with the bill. There was no problem to begin with. They should have just decided not to increase the fees. For a lot of people, the way that Patreon batched together payments and made things more efficient was one of the big attractions of Patreon, but they've decided to voluntarily throw that advantage away. That is the stupid and massively wasteful decision here, and to make that decision and then smokescreen the situation with an unnecessary debate on who should pay is absolutely reprehensible.